So it's been a while since this iPad Pro came out, way back in 2018. Typically I don't get the iPad Pro versions, mainly because the extra cost that comes along with those models. But in 2023, when you talk about this larger 12.9-inch iPad Pro 3rd generation, there's actually a lot to like about this tablet, even in 2023. As you can see here, it's going to be a little bit larger than the iPad Air 5. It's about the same height as the Galaxy Tab S8 Plus, just a little bit wider. You can actually find this larger iPad Pro at a pretty affordable price, starting around $500 for a renewed or a refurbished one. The one I have here is 256 gigabytes of storage, Wi-Fi only, but you can also get a 64 gigabytes or 256 or 512. I believe there's also a 1 terabyte storage option, but probably the biggest feature of this iPad is definitely going to be the screen. It's got a nice and large 12.9-inch LED backlit IPS display with 2732 by 2048 resolution. Also has their Pro Motion technology, and this one's pretty bright as well, 600 nits brightness. So whether you're watching YouTube videos at 4K resolution or Netflix or whatever streaming service you use, the screen on here just looks really nice and sharp, and is still going to compete against other tablets in this category at this price, even in 2023. You're not going to get the Touch ID there on the power button, but this one does have Face Unlock, or what Apple calls Face ID, and it seems fairly reliable in my experience. This sounds sort of crazy, but this iPad that came out in 2018 actually has better performance than the new Galaxy Tab S8 that just came out from Samsung. You get the A12X Bionic chip with 4 gigabytes of RAM, which doesn't really sound that great, but surprisingly it still does a great job at multitasking, or even if you edit video. I think this is going to perform better than you would think, considering this is an older iPad. Just one look at the Geekbench scores on here, and yeah, these numbers are still pretty good compared to other tablets that have came out recently. Sure, it's not going to beat the new iPad Air 5 that has the M1 processor, but to be honest, it doesn't feel that much slower in my testing. Games on this iPad are also going to perform pretty good, at least when testing PUBG Mobile, Asphalt 9. I feel like most people are going to enjoy gaming on a larger screen like this. And then as far as the software goes, you get the latest and greatest iPadOS 16.4.1. So it's going to feel and look very similar to other iPads that have came out recently. You're also going to get the new Stage Manager feature as well. Although personally, I don't feel like I really use that much, but I know there are some out there who do. You'll also be able to use the same keyboards from some of the newer iPad Pros since they're the same dimensions. And then looking at Apple's past, as far as updates go, this one is getting a little closer to the end of the software updates. Considering the 1st and 2nd gen iPad Pros got the iPadOS 16 update, sort of tough to say, but I would guess you're going to get at least a couple more years of software updates. You also get USB-C for charging, which means it's going to be a little easier to connect accessories like external drives, or if you're going to be using Android phones, you can just use the same cable. Just a lot easier than the Lightning port in my experience. This iPad's also going to work with the 2nd gen Apple Pencil, which charges right there on the side, which is going to be great for drawing, taking notes, just moving around the software. It might not be as good as the S Pen you get on Samsung's Galaxy tablets, but still, it's just a really nice thing to have on here. When it comes to battery life, this iPad's going to be similar to other iPads I've tested. Not the greatest out there, but it did last 5.5 hours at 100% screen brightness. So plenty of power to get you through the whole day of normal usage. Just keep in mind, if you're going to be doing video editing all day or just streaming videos most of the day, obviously that's going to run the battery life down quite a bit faster. You don't get a headphone jack on here, but the speakers on here are actually pretty good as well. It's got a quad speaker setup, and it actually sounds better than the newest iPad Air 5. Here's a quick sample just to give you an idea of what to expect.
And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away, as you fade away.
When it comes to the cameras, they are a little bit older. You get a 12 megapixel camera on the back, which can record up to 4K 60 frames per second, 7 megapixel front facing camera, which can record up to 1080p 60 frames per second. It may not beat the newest iPads as far as camera quality goes, but still pretty decent for a tablet. It should be fine for things like Zoom meetings or other video conference calls. Here's a quick sample of photos and video just to show you what to expect. So in my opinion, yes, you still get a lot of value for this older iPad Pro, especially if you want a nice and large screen with good performance and you want to save some money. Yeah, you should definitely check this one out. Really the only downside that we don't know how much longer it's going to get software updates. But in my opinion, it's still one of the better large tablets available in 2023, even when compared to other tablets that have came out since this first launched. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.